Alright, so I wanted to go over some of the materials that we're going to be using for the course. One thing that you'll have to buy is some marker paper. You can either use this Bean Fang or Canson marker paper, but it has to be marker paper. So we're going to be doing a lot of marker drawings. Another thing that you'll probably already have in your kit are just regular drawing pencils. So you probably have like number 2B, HB, 6B pencils. So we'll be using pencils or drawing pencils for a lot of your sketchbook assignments. So obviously like an eraser, sharpener is going to be something that you'll need. But you'll probably already have pencils. And then if you have just a number 2 pencil will work fine. So drawing pencils for sure you're going to be needing for the class. Something that you may not have is marker paper. So this is a Bean Fang marker paper, and this can be any size. It doesn't have to be super large. I think this would probably be the smallest size that you need. This is a 9 by 12. But marker paper is designed to really work well with markers. It doesn't absorb all the markers, so you won't dry out your markers super quick. Kind of keeps the markers towards the surface of your paper so that you can blend and then also not waste too much marker. Some of the markers that you will have to purchase are these grayscale markers. Now we need 3. We need a light gray, a middle gray, a dark gray, and then you can have a black marker. Now the black marker could be any black marker. You can use a Sharpie marker. This happens to be a Prismacolor marker. But you just need a black marker to go with your grayscale design markers. I think these are set up by percentages. So this one is a 10% marker. So when I sketch with that, it leaves just a really light 10% of 100% black. Now this is great for sketching, roughing out certain areas, because you know that you can always go darker because it's not super dark. And when it comes to working with markers, you go light first and then you get darker as you progress. You can't really go backwards, although we do have a technique we can use to kind of put white back into your drawing if you don't have it anymore. The next one I have is a 30%, and these are dual tip, so fine point on one side and the other side has more of a wider chiseled edge. So you can see the difference between a 30% and a 10%. So this is obviously like it's still a light gray, but you're getting darker and darker as you go. The next one is a 50%. Not too much difference between the 30 and the 50, although you can see that it is getting a little darker. Big jump between 10 and 50, right? You can really see that. And then the next one I have is a 70%. So when it comes to markers, you can go really light one direction, and then if you wanted to, you can go in the opposite direction or continue going over it to get the full look of the opacity that you have for your marker. And then I have the 100% black. So the 100% black, and you can really see that this is very opaque, it's very dark, and that's at 100%. Now you can buy kits for these design markers like this one that gives you 12 different markers. It'll give you cool grays and warm grays, and it breaks everything down between 10 all the way to 100%. These are probably maybe $30 to $40 to get a set like this. You don't have to. All you really need to have is at least 3. So I would suggest something like a light gray, a middle gray, either 30 to 50, and then a darker gray 70 or 80, and then 100% black. So you should have 3 markers total. And it's up to you which ones you'd like to buy, but I do want a light gray, a middle gray, a dark gray, and then your black. And your black could be any marker. You could use a Sharpie if you wanted to for the black, or you can use Prismacolors. Now, a lot of the markers you can purchase individually, so if you didn't want to buy a set like this, or a Copic set, or a master marker set, and you just wanted to buy the markers individually, you can do that. Again, just make sure that you have a light gray, a middle gray, and a black. Now, we talked a little bit about how when you go all the way dark, there's no way to go back into white, right? You can't really Control Z or Command Z to go back and add white to an area that doesn't have white. But you do have, you can get a white paint marker. Now this is great for adding highlights back into areas. You can go in and put white back into your drawing if you made a mistake. And you can actually go in and create some highlights. And we'll be using this a lot for our marker renderings. So it allows you to put the white back in, and you can just paint over the dark areas. And these are just regular, I believe these are just paint pens. You can get any paint pen as long as it's white. I think I got these at Michael's for just a few bucks. But these are really great to add highlights back into your drawing and make sure that you don't have too many dark areas that you can't bring out with lighter colors. The other thing that works really well is a white Prismacolor or light colored Prismacolors. And when it comes to markers, you can always put Prismacolors over your markers, but you can't put markers over your Prismacolors. So I often have a white Prismacolor that I can use, and this will allow me to go back into certain areas and add some highlights if I need to. And it's just another option for marker renderings. You can either go in with something that is a marker paint marker, or you can go in with something that's dry and you can sketch over areas that have already been rendered dark, and this will allow you to kind of lighten certain things up if you need to. Remember, you can always go Prismacolor over marker, but you can't go marker over Prismacolor. So I can just glaze over certain areas, and then this will allow me to lighten up the value. And then if I really want to punch in some highlights, I can use my paint marker. And these you just kind of push in to activate. It's got the paint inside. And then I can add some highlights if needed. And I just kind of use these sparingly. So that's what you'll need for your gray markers. You'll need a light gray, a middle gray, a dark gray, and then your 100%. And again, your 100% could be a Prismacolor pen, Sharpie, just anything that's going to give you a dark value.